Hey everyone, Jasmine here from First Diversity Staffing. Today I'm here to talk to you about how to get hired. We're going to go over the 5 elements of getting a job. First, you're going to want to create a work kit. Now, a work kit is something that I designed towards the end of my academic career because I kept applying to all these places and I was never prepared. So a work kit is like an actual physical binder that you have that stores all of your information. So to create your work kit, you're going to start by gathering all your information. Get your social security card, birth certificate, ID, anything that a job would need once you go on to be hired on. You want to have it prepared so that the only thing standing in your way is that employer, not you. You don't want your birth certificate to be the reason why you can't get hired on somewhere. So you want to get your information that you would need, and whether it's the original document or a copy of a document or the information to get that document, you want to have it prepared. If you know you're going to go out and apply to a few different places, you want to go ahead and call the offices to get your information set. Next, you're going to want to background check yourself. The reason why you want to do this is because you want to be 100% accurate on your own information. A lot of times people miss out on opportunities because they think they're not allowed to work at certain places because of their background. You want to be 100% positive that what is on your record is on your record, so you don't miss out on opportunities at good jobs because of an assumption. There are sources online to background check yourself, or you can call your courthouse and get that information for when you're ready to start looking for new jobs. The last thing for your work kit is you just want to continue to get all of the other important information, all of the other loose details that some employers might ask for. For example, some might want a bank statement or a proof of address with a piece of mail. You want to have the accurate information that's up to date with you at all times, so that whenever you're ready to work, you have all the things you need. The second part to getting a job is that you're going to create your resume. Now, no worries, this is going to be an overview. Make sure you tune in to our full episode on resumes, where I go into detail to how to craft the perfect one to get any job you want. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you be honest and that you be extra. Your resume is the form that employers see before they actually get to know you. You want to take advantage of that opportunity. So be as honest as possible. Whatever you share, they can always search and look up and it'll catch up to you. But you also want to be extra. So list all the work opportunities, even if it wasn't at a job where you were hired on. If you did volunteer work, if you have experience from school, from classrooms, if you helped out an uncle at their shop. You want to put anything that is relevant to the job that you're looking for on your resume. It's okay to be extra. You want to keep it updated. If you keep your resume updated all the time, you won't miss out on the things that you've done. A lot of times we forget all the cool things that we've done in our communities and at work because we don't add it to our resume. If you're applying for a job in 2019, you want relevant information and job experience. If you did something in 2003, if it wasn't relative to this job or crazy impactful, you might want to leave it off. If you keep your resume updated, you won't have to worry about it. Like I said, we're going to go into detail on our episode that's completely about resumes, but this is a key point that so many people miss. You want to adjust your resume every time you apply to a new position because it makes your chances of actually getting through to the HR or the recruiter so much higher. When you adjust it every single time, you're not sending out a spam resume. People online, sources online like Indeed and Monster are going to be a lot more likely to pick yours up. Next thing you want to do is pick up your phone and reach out. This is the part that a lot of people miss, and here's why it's important. When you give the employer a phone call, it shows interest and it shows effort. Don't just submit a resume and then not do anything about it and then be upset that you didn't get hired on. They want to see your effort. So give the employer a phone call and say, hey, did you receive my resume? I'm really interested in this position. I would like to learn more about it. The other part that's good about making a phone call is that you get to make a connection. You get to actually talk to a person at the company, and that's your opportunity to go beyond just the resume. Now they have the resume and they have a voice. They see that you care, they know your voice, you know theirs, and it's a lot better for you. The other thing that you want to do while you're on your phone call is gather all the details. So call them and see if it's a job that you even want. I think a lot of times people forget when they're looking for work that they do have a choice in where they work. It might take a little bit more time, it might be a little bit more difficult, but you don't want to work somewhere where you're going to leave in a couple weeks. So while you're on that phone call, ask them questions about the work life, ask them questions about what you're going to be doing, so you can get information and see if that's where you even want to work. Next, after you have your work kit and your resume and you've touched base with them and they love you, you're going to master the interview. So this will also be a whole nother episode where we go in depth and we'll show you how to get the perfect interview. But for now, you want to prepare beforehand in every way possible. Prepare with your questions, prepare with your information. Your work kit's already done, so you're already one step ahead of the game. You want to prepare even with the details about how to get there, where to park, what time to show up. When you prepare ahead of time, you have so much of a higher chance of avoiding those mishaps when life just happens and it seems like everything's against you. If you're gonna catch the bus, make sure you get your money for the bus. Make sure maybe you plan to get out a day before. Make sure you check it ahead and make sure that the schedule is the same. You want to make sure you do everything before the day of the interview to help you on the day of the interview. Also gonna dress the part. Effort is what matters here. No one is saying that you have to go out and buy a whole new suit and tie, but you want to just look clean and polished. I believe in keeping it simple, going with the basics, but we'll go into details on our interview episode. Just remember, you want to dress the part for what you're applying for. The way you dress and the way you behave are basically, your now second impressions. So now they've gotten your resume, they've heard your voice. Now just wow them by dressing the part. You don't want to go in with sweatpants or holes in your shirts. There's a lot of resources out in the community to get you prepared for interviews with clothing. You can check those out on firstdiversity.com. Lastly, for your interview, you want to have professional behavior. So again, we're going to go over the etiquette of interviews in our interview episode, but be on your best behavior, be a professional, make sure you speak to everyone. You don't know who is the HR, who the CEO is. You want to treat everyone the same. You want to make sure you speak to everyone because a lot of times employers will ask the audience of the workplace how they felt when you entered. And if you can have a lot of positive reviews based off that interaction, it's going to be best for you. Lastly, the follow-up. So you want to follow the process. If you've landed an interview and you made it to the end, no hiccups, your phone wasn't ringing, you did pretty good, now it's time to ask for the follow-up process. Ask them, how long, should I wait till I reach out? Or where do we go from here? Sometimes employers will say, we'll reach out to you or we'll give you a phone call. You want to actually know for a couple of reasons. One, so you're not laying in agony at night when you're not sure why this job hasn't called you back. They might do an email process. They might do it via mail. You might hear from them tomorrow, or it might be 2 weeks. You want to follow the process. You want to give it time. Some employers are hiring at different rates, so they might start accepting interviews right now, but they're not looking to hire people on for another 4 weeks. Every job is different. Every employer is different. So give it time. Don't worry about it. In that time where you're waiting for one application at one workplace, be prepared to do another application and do another interview. Keep the cycle going. Make them wait on you. Lastly, for the follow-up, you want to reach out and give thanks for one. Thank them for even giving you the time of day, for giving you that experience, for considering you as a candidate. That goes very far. A no is not definite. Life happens, needs change. You can always be on their wait list. And lastly, you want to ask about growth. So say you don't get the job, unfortunately. Ask them why. not defensively, truly ask them why so you can go on somewhere else and apply those skills. With that information, you can go on to other jobs and other interviews and not make those same mistakes that you might have at one company. You want to be open to all the possibilities. You want to take this time to consider your own faults and grow from them. So if an employer says we didn't hire you because of A, go change A. You'll be fine. Okay, so what questions do you have for me?
All the questions.
All right.
So many questions.
Let's do 3.
Okay. Okay, so you were talking about the kit.
Mm-hmm.
What should I have in the kit if I don't really have a whole lot to put in it to begin with?
Well, the work kit is just your information. So it's not like a portfolio. So that is your social security card, because employers are going to want that once you get hired on. That's your birth certificate. Your a copy of your ID.
Should I have a copy of my resume or 2 in it? Is this something I take to the interview, or do I take it like my date of hire?
This is more of a day of hire thing.
What is your advice to people who don't want to be told no?
Okay. So, personally, I'm going to say I'm a little, kind of desensitized to that because I've gotten so used to hearing no.
How did you get there?
By asking questions that would get me no. So, basically, I try to get, 5 no's a day. I take my chances, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask for this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I bet I'm going to get no. And if I get yes, okay, I have to go find another no. You kind of have to build yourself up to it. Also, don't take it personally. I know that this is necessary, this is life, and you gotta eat. But if a job is telling you no, kind of similar to why I suggest that afterwards you ask why they tell you no, 2 good things are coming about that. If they tell you why they said no, you have no reason to feel upset anymore because now you know how to avoid that again. If they say no because of X, Y, and Z, reverse X, Y, and Z, and your chances of getting that are so much less likely. Also, if you ask them why they say no, and it's for a discriminatory reason, boom, you got a case. So there's no reason to be afraid of no. You figure out why, and then you go attack it so you don't have to hear it again. Don't take it personally. It's not you, and things are going to get better. The more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes.
How much is too much? That's always a question of mine.
If you are questioning it, it's probably too much. I want to say if you wouldn't want it, if you wouldn't want someone doing what you're doing to you, it's probably too much. I know your threshold is way more than most, but you just have to think for the common person. I would say you want to follow up in a timely manner, so you don't want to submit your resume, call the next minute later. Let it sit. Give them time. I would say probably a day or 2 period. If you don't have that type of time, maybe go in person and say, hi, I dropped off my resume, but don't make it just about you. Take that time in person to go and ask more about the company. Get them talking about themselves. It's not always about how much you do it, but it's about what you're doing there. You don't want to harass the employer, obviously. And then you also want to remember that if you have to put in that much effort, you could be putting that effort into a whole nother job. Put that effort into another employer. If you've called and you've went up there 5 times, take that energy elsewhere. That's their loss. If you know that you're the employee that they need, if you know that you're doing your best, know when to call it quits. And then eventually they'll come. They'll come on their own time. Because you also don't want to wait too long with your follow-up. Whether it's after the interview or after you submitted your application, don't call them 2 weeks later hey, you're no longer relevant anymore. So kind of just gauge to the golden rule. Do as you would want done to yourself. Don't be creepy. And
is that a golden rule? Don't be creepy.
I feel like it should be.
It should be.
You know? Because you also don't want to scare them. Be tasteful.
They'll throw you in sales.
Yeah, you don't
You're
want to
too
do
aggressive.
That. Unless you want to do that, then go do that.
Yep. Okay, great.
Awesome.
3 questions.
Good. So I hope these questions help you out. I hope they help explain some of the concepts that we discussed. Be sure to tune into the other episodes about resumes and interviewing, and we'll go into more detail there. Thanks.